Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 4 of the Thru Social podcast, your go to source for everything social media, digital trends, and the rapidly evolving world of AI. I'm your host, Paul Wright. Well, we have to thank you again off the start of the show here. Over 5,000 total downloads in the first 3 episodes. Thank you to everyone who has liked, shared, subscribed, and we really appreciate your support. Keep it coming. Let's build this community together. Thank you very much. So let's get started with the podcast today. And this first piece of news is very interesting. As YouTube grows on TV, it eyes more interactive video across formats. The living room has become a central battleground for YouTube as more people turn to television screens. Now, the Google owned platform is trying to make watching videos on TV more interactive across formats like live, shorts, and the new job listing show. The shift is reflected in a wave of recent job postings at YouTube focused on the living room experience across product, design, and engineering. The push comes as YouTube rolls out new features aimed at the living room, including AI powered voice searches on TVs. It is also working on a second screen TV companion feature that lets viewers interact with videos from their phones and has introduced Stations, a 24/7 linear stream, as reported by The Verge. And this is exciting. Last month, YouTube struck a partnership with FIFA around the FIFA World Cup 2026 to offer what is described as an immersive viewing experience across all devices. The efforts come as the platform's presence on TV continues to grow, with YouTube now accounting for 12.5% of all TV viewing. That's a staggering number. And it will be really cool to have this. We're less than 2 months away from the World Cup in North America. Of course, Mexico, the US, and right here in Canada, for the very first time, are hosting the World Cup. So let's see how this interacts with the standard network broadcast that we're all accustomed to on the different sports networks. Moving on, you can now edit your Instagram comments. Well, it's about time, Instagram. People have been asking and waiting for this for way too long. And the platform finally announced on Wednesday that users now have the option to edit comments. I'm sure I'm not alone. You've made a comment on Instagram and realized, oh, I made a typo, or oh no, um, something didn't make sense, or it was an autocorrect, and you were either going to have to leave it or erase the whole post and repost it. Now, the only catch is there's only a 15-minute window to make the changes, but that's more than enough time, because usually when you do something like that, you realize right away that you've made an error. So good on Instagram for doing that. And we hope that they do more changes in the future, listening to their users. Moving on, we have talked about this on previous podcasts, and now here in Canada, the Liberal members of government have voted in favor of age restrictions for social media and AI chatbots. Now, they've voted in favor of the age restrictions, but this also obviously has to go through Parliament, and it will be some time before it actually becomes a law. But good on Canada for doing this. The two proposals debated were how to address the impact of social media platforms and AI chatbots, tools that simulate inappropriate behavior and are having teenagers and kids affected greatly. One resolution calls for a law similar to the one in Australia, passed late last year, which we have been talking about, with the minimum age of 16 for creating social media accounts. This trend set by Australia is going across Europe. France was the latest that we talked about last week. So good on Canada for doing this. But this is very interesting. They are also wanting to ban children under the 16 from using AI chatbots that are potentially harmful for AI interaction, including the most popular OpenAI's ChatGPT. This is the first I've heard of something like this, and good on the Canadian government for addressing this problem. And I hope that they can come to some sort of a resolution and bring it before Parliament and get this passed, because AI is growing very, very quickly. We always talk about it. So the governments really have to step up and get ahead of this before it just gets way too out of control. Moving on, the software was originally pitched as a way to prevent children from accessing obscene or harmful content. That's right. The EU unveils age verification app as social media ban gains steam. Very good. Good on the EU. This is what I'm talking about. Technology is moving way too fast. Let's get ahead of it. So, this app is going to require children to either submit their passport or a legal government ID. And this is going to be used so they will not be able to access a social media account unless they prove their age. And this can be used as well as for traveling across the EU. So that's a very, very interesting app that's coming out of the EU, and hopefully it will be available here in North America as well. The open source tool will require users to show legal identification. It will also help coordinate age verification requirements across the EU. The age verification system or tool with a comfortable level of accuracy will be required for platforms that are already subjected to EU child protection regulations, such as websites that host pornography. Moving on. Parks Canada works with social media influencers to shape visitor behavior in Banff. Park staff attended influencer event to share safety messaging ahead of a busy summer season. Parks Canada is trying to influence social media influencers as more people turn to their content to plan trips to Banff National Park. Staff from Banff Field Unit recently attended a Travel Alberta event in Canmore where 13 Alberta based influencers gathered to learn about responsible tourism. It was the first time park staff had taken part in the annual program, which began back in 2019. Travel Alberta uses the workshops to outline how it expects influencers it partners with to promote the province. Banff National Park Acting Superintendent Daniela Rublin says visitors are increasingly relying on social media instead of traditional sources like visitor centers to plan their trips. Social media has changed the way in which people see the park or learn about specific things within the park, and has changed where people want to go. And that's why during the event, park staff shared messages they want influencers to include in their posts, aimed at encouraging safer behavior inside the park. Messages including reminding visitors to stay inside their vehicles when they see wildlife and to carry bear spray on hikes. Tourism boards are increasingly using influencers to shape visitor behavior. This is a whole new thing with social media. People are really driving the force of where people go. So it only makes sense that these tourist boards work alongside social media influencers. This should be happening in all the provinces in Canada and all the way across the world. And finally, continuing where we left off last week, I'm going to point out an industry or job that is going to be obsolete due to AI, and also an industry or job that will be in high demand as AI continues to evolve at a rapid rate. So, first, let's look at the obsolete job: telemarketers and sales callers. AI can generate scripts, run outbound calls, personalize messaging, and the result, fewer human cold callers are needed. So if you are a telemarketer or sales caller, maybe you might want to think about a new opportunity down the line, because you are going to be phased out by AI. And a second A job that has a bright future is an AI product manager. Bridges business and AI tech, decides how AI features are built and used. Why it's hot? Companies need people who understand both tech and business. It's not just one or the other. You really need to understand that. So, AI product manager, a great job to look for if you are starting out a new looking to start out a new career, or if you haven't decided, potentially that one could be a really good idea. Well, that does it for episode 4. Just a few programming notes before I sign off. We will be having our first live guest on the show next week. Stay connected to our socials at Link Through Social, that's THRU, where we will reveal who that will be in the coming days. Now, please don't forget to like, download, and subscribe on the platform where you get your podcasts. And stay connected on our social media accounts on Instagram, X, Facebook, and TikTok, and message any feedback or questions you may have. And if you need to access the links for our podcast, we have a URL, linkthroughsocialpodcast.com. Thanks for listening. Until next time, that's another edition of the Link Through Social podcast.